Yo, what's up, everybody? Marco from Digital Dash Trading. Look, man, last week was kind of tough. I think it was the week of 820 to 826. Pretty tough week. I was like 0-4. I mean, market played some games this week, but it's of course it's to be expected, right? So some chop in the market, didn't get any much follow through, kind of some ranging traditions, and just a lot of bulls and bears just fighting each other all week, right? At every level. So pretty much just looking on. We got our downtrend was pretty strong last week. We're doing our thing. Of course, sellers came into an area of demand. Selling intensified, sold to all the buyers. I mean, sellers got out that needed to take profit. Buyers that wanted to step into the market stepped into the market, started lifting the market higher. We wanted to see this first leg get defended. It kind of got defended. This 44.36. We got a small rejection. Didn't see much follow through, and then boosted higher. But that's the type of stuff we should be looking for if we do get in, because even if we got in, took this tap or this rejection or whatever it is zone, we didn't see follow through. So the fact that we weren't getting the follow through and absorption was happening at the lows was showing us that buyers were stepping in. So this is where we either take profit for a small win and flip our trade, or just take profit for a small win and get out, right? Or when you see that we're failing to move lower and prices reversing, get out or get out and take your stop, whatever the case may be. But that's a sign. When absorption happens at those lows and you're not getting followed through and you're moving away from a possible demand zone becomes supply, or a supply zone, then you want to see follow through to the downside. So we didn't get that there. So again, that was just another, when the lower time frame it happened. For the lower time frame supply, same thing. Oh, we pulling back into supply. Let's try to short it. You get a few points. Buyers step in. Buyers support it. There's new support created, and then buyers hold price up and head higher. It happened on lower time frames. It happened on some higher time frames, and that's that. Important level 44.69, bro. It was very important back in the past. We had we had demand. Yeah, we had a bunch of demand before that. We slowly grinded through. Then that level we bounced off of. Same thing. We got a nice rally from it. A push into a level where sellers want to enter the market again, where buyers want to take profit, where their buyers are exhausted at, and then we get a move lower. Same thing that happened now. We're getting a nice move lower now. Nice push into demand. Sellers taking their profit, buyers stepping into the market. It's a nice little relief bounce, and into 44.69, which I believe is just a simple break and retest, right? We got a break here, a little retest of it, which allowed us to get in short a couple weeks ago, and then ride that down into demand, which was cool. But that wasn't the ultimate break and retest on the higher time frame, like the 4 hour. Now we're getting, we broke through, and then we got that push and nice rally, of course, being fueled from the sellers taking their profit here and the buyers stepping into the market, fueled us this push it back into 44.69, where ultimately we failed to hold above. Of course, more buyers stepped in. So again, what's happening here? Absorption at the highs. Sellers are using those people that bought as fuel. All the people who piled in and chased this huge green candle, and all the people who saw this pullback hold and they went. They used all those buyers as fuel to rally their move down. So I'm seeing that. It's the same thing that happened down here. The sellers intensified because they thought this zone was going to break in this downtrend. Let's anticipate the break of demand zones. And then up here, buyers intensified. They saw us removing supply zones for the whole week. They saw us taking out resistance for the whole week. So a bunch more buyers piled in at the top. But look where the top was. The break and retest of this key 44.69. So, break, retest, failed to maintain above. Boom. Once you see this failure to maintain above, you can enter short, place your stop above, and see if we can get a move down. So I unfortunately didn't catch that move, but that's perfect. So now what I'm going to be looking for is, I want to see, we did take out this little bit of structure to the downside, whatever, woo-woo, on the 4 hour. Ideally, I would like to see this entire zone get taken out, right? And then once it's all the way taken out, then I'll look for a nice cheap entry on a pullback, hopefully somewhere in this area, right? There's a lot happening in this area down here at these lows, as well as this 43.72, 43.65. That's like an area of demand as well. just all in the past. So those are the areas we're watching. Of course, if we break below it, then we got gaps to target down below. So that's why these areas are so important. And if we do get a true break, I want to get in. I'm gonna just stay patient. I mean, let the fall happen and try to get in nice and cheap. Again, one of those scenarios. If you took the initial break here, which we did last week or 2 weeks ago, and was able to profit pushing down into this demand zone, you would have to be patient for 10 days before you get the retest of that same level that you took, right? For another good trade. So that's why it's so important just to identify the conditions, you know what I mean, and know when to trade and when not to trade, because you don't have to trade that, right? I didn't have to trade all week knowing like, all right, the freshest supply zones can act as inducement or liquidity or whatever. Yeah, I mean, because these just aren't levels where sellers want to majorly step into the market. Like, this is not. Yeah, I mean, if we're looking for banks and institutions to really put more money up and really hammer short, this is not necessarily the level where they're getting their best value at. It'd be a nice cheap pullback for somebody to get in and get a nice scalp. But if we're talking really moving a whole bunch of bread, that's a great level to pull back into and get in nice and cheap, right? So if we're gonna think about, yeah, I mean, if we're the banks, if we get in up here and we're gonna sell enough to, you know, put new lows in and continue this trend down, by the time we make it to the lows, we're already up 100 points, right? So if new lows are gonna get created, if we push even into new demand, you know, we'd already be 133 points up by the time we even break lows, right? 111 points up by the time we even take out new lows. And if the trend is continuing, who knows how far this next push down is gonna go. So yeah, those little zones, those closest zones got ran. And it's good to see that we held below 44.69. That's a bearish indication. Yes, we had all this buying and we had a whole week of rallying or whatever, but seeing us hold below that level 44.69 is a bearish indication. So yeah, we look for a structure to continue to get removed to the downside, and then a nice pullback into a very evident, very obvious supply where we can put on calculated risk and see if we're going to get more continuation to the downside. And if not, cool, we'll stop up, we'll take our loss. If we get in short at a supply zone and we don't see us taking out significant levels to the downside when we are getting a push, when we do have volume, when sellers are stepping into the market, then that's possibly a sign that buyers are absorbing those orders and they're going to step into the market and continue moving this higher. But yeah, seeing this hold under that 44.69 is cool. That's keeping the overall landscape bearish for me. So that's what I'm gonna be looking for. But again, not going into this with any bias. What I do want to look out for is the fact that although, and this is what I'm talking about, right? It was a very bearish move from 44.69, but it wasn't bearish enough for us to break the structure that was strong enough to get us to 44.69 in the first place, right? A strong break and hold above 43.89, 43.90 is what got us to 44.69. So 44.69 is so mighty and strong that we can't even break above it and hold, and we reject from it and bring this crazy sell-off. Then you would think the sellers would be strong enough to break and hold back below 43.88 and back below 43.77, break and hold. So that's what I'm looking for, bro. Yes, we may be getting a nice, you know, this is an area to target and take profit. People don't want to anticipate the break of this because this was a strong key level. This 43.90 was a level that boosted us all the way up to 44.69. So they may be taking profit there. Buyers may be looking into the market there. That's cool. So what do we do now? If you know, we just look at our other levels. Okay, we broke back above 44.02. We got a little bit of supply here. Here's a leg here. Again, was resistance in the past, pushed back into it, was resistance again. Then we had a strong break through it. I mean, then we had another strong break through it. Let's see, 44.28. Are we going to push into 44.28 and hold? Or do we fail at 44.28 again and then finally get our break and close below 43.88? You know, and then invalidate and take out some of this demand below. That's pretty much my thought process in all of this. You know what I mean? Identify range, identify the trend, and then see where I can get in cheap for whatever side of the trade I'm going to be on. If I'm trying to go long, I want a nice pullback into support. You know what I mean? A pullback into demand. You know what I mean? A sell-off, just some type of sell-off where I can get in cheap and then get to where I want to go. So that's how I do it. If we get a rejection from 44.69, and if that rejection doesn't break 43.88, then we will remain bullish, right? That's how you simply create a thesis. This is a level where we want to see break. We want to see sellers break this level to show us, buyers are getting wiped out of the market. This didn't break, so buyers are still here. Buyers are still present, right? Sellers are not overcoming these buyers. So just that. I mean, it's just if then, simple if then, and then just finding a good entry using the tape. So that's what I'm looking for on the bearish side. Now this pretty much we're ranging, right? You could say the range is 44.69 down to 43.59. And that's what it's been. The market isn't really giving us too much of a sign that anything's happening. Even with this, it was later in the day. Yes, this was okay, yeah, it was later in the day, so I'll give him a pass. But yeah, we just pushed back, huge sell-off back into an area where we're like, okay, are we gonna break this level to continue selling off? And it didn't happen. So the market's not just giving us clear direction here, clear signs. It's being supported, it's being held up, it's doing a lot of trickery. So really we just want to wait. If this is a range established, of course, sell at the highs, buy at the lows, and don't anticipate anything changing until it changes, or don't participate in the market until something changes. So yeah, quick look at NQ. Looking at NQ real quick. This is not the chart I wanted to look at for NQ, but it's pretty much the same thing. And NQ even shows a little bit better because you see the level where we broke through. It acted as resistance. We came back into it, acted as resistance again. Then we broke through it. Then we broke right clean back through it. So that's for NQ. It's like 15.29 for NQ, and for ES that scenario kind of happened around here, right around 44.27, where we got the we broke through, acted as resistance when we pulled back into it, acted as resistance here, clean break through it, clean sell through it, and then we tested it here. So that's why I'm watching that 44.28 to see if we're gonna hold back below it and then take out this zone, or break back above it and start heading higher. And then I'm gonna watch and see what happens as we head higher, and what levels we hold as we head higher, right? So yeah, there's that. But looking at NQ, and I want to switch the layout on NQ, because you can really see it on the price action chart. And that's why I have a price action chart, just so I can have just other zones in another view. Switching to this, switch back to NQ. Just this support level here on NQ just held it so flawlessly, right? It was just a perfect area where sellers can sell, and where sellers can buy and take profit, and buyers could buy and into the market. It was just such a good level for that to happen at. So yeah, we're watching that. And then of course, if that breaks on NQ, we got a gap target minimum, we got a gap to target, and then the next support, because we're falling into the next range. So if this is the high of that range and this would be the low, then that'd be what we're playing. Yeah, I mean, and then whatever supply and demand forms inside of this range. So NQ, it looks super clear because the chart's so clear. Even just the higher time frame supply, like we just pushed into it perfectly, sold off, and then got some demand down here where we could ultimately target. But yeah, it's very evident on NQ how important some of these supports are, because we have things like gaps where we're definitely going to target those gaps, and then definitely going to target lower demand and support zones that are lower. So it's a lot of space to the downside, and that's why it's so important for buyers to step in and try to hold these levels that we're seeing them try at, and sellers to try to really sell through these levels that we're seeing them struggle selling through, to tell us if this bearish trend is going to continue. So that's what I'm looking at this week. Again, letting the market develop. Trying not to carry these losses from last week into next week. Watching the tape for these entries, of course, and still just having the confidence to pull the trigger. I mean, I know from my statistics, I know from my stats, I'm gonna lose more trades than I'm gonna win. But those, as long as I'm keeping my losers small, and having my winners, keep my winners big, then we're gonna be good in the end. So that's really what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm trying to do. I going into this week, if I do identify conditions where it's just, I mean, we're ranging, we still not seeing follow through, we get back to the bottom of the range and we don't break the range, like, what are we doing? Are we in the downtrend or not? Seeing stuff like that is just not ideal to this trading style. It's not ideal to this trading strategy. It's not something I want to see. So that's the one thing I can do better this week. If I identify just what I don't want to see, just not trading it. This week I was occupied with other things as well. I was doing other work this week, so I wasn't really able to manage and trade how I really wanted to trade. But you know, that could have been a blessing if I would have just went and did other things instead of trying to put on a trade or whatever in these type of conditions. So yeah, right now we're watching this. And I hate Sunday analysis because it always changes by the time Monday gets here, and it definitely always changes by the time Tuesday gets here. But yeah, for now we're, you know, buyers are trying. Sellers stepped in at the 44.69, but they didn't step in enough to break structure and continue to trend to the downside just yet. So we're watching. We're gonna let the market form. We're gonna let structure form and see what it wants to do before we act. But that's how we're gonna act. If then statements, you know, what levels are breaking, what levels are holding after they're breaking, identify our ranges, what ranges are being taken out. When we do move into a new range, is it being held? You know, the same thing, what levels are being taken out and are they holding? And then you know, just pulling the trigger when we see what we want to see on the tape. Yeah, we took some losses. Confidence is not hit. That's the one thing I can say. Confidence is not hit. I'm understanding what's going on right now, right? We just ended up in an important area. We knew tomfoolery was gonna have to happen. You know, and it just trend wasn't ready to continue yet. So it's nothing to really fret over. We kept our losses small. Our wins from when the market was trending in our direction are still keeping us afloat. So it's nothing to worry about. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. That's how I'm looking to do it. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you leave a subscribe. Check out our TikTok. I've been active on TikTok. And come join the group chat. And just chat up in there. I mean, make it active. Make it lit for me. And I'll catch you on the next video.